Unsubscribe Forever, Part 2. Welcome back. If you've made it this far, then perhaps you're ready for the truth. But remember, some things are better left unread. Ryan thought unsubscribing would set him free. But the email was never just an email. It was an invitation, one he had unknowingly accepted. And now, he stood at the threshold of something far worse than he had ever imagined. As the door creaked open, darkness loomed beyond it, unnaturally thick. His instincts screamed at him to turn back. But the moment he tried, the lights in his apartment flickered, then died. He was no longer alone. Ryan's breath quickened. He slammed the door shut. His fingers fumbled for the lock. Click. Secure. But then, his phone vibrated in his pocket. A single message glowed on the screen. "Running won't help. You're already here." His pulse pounded. Slowly, he turned back to his laptop. The screen, once dead, now glowed faintly. A new email appeared. Subject line: "Final confirmation required." His hands trembled as he moved the cursor. The email opened on its own. Inside, a single line of text. "Step forward." Behind him, the door creaked, but he had locked it. Something was inside. Ryan's body tensed. The air in the room had shifted, thicker, heavier. He could feel something standing just behind him. Cold breath brushed against his neck. His mind screamed at him not to turn around. The laptop screen flickered again. The text changed. "Look behind you." His breathing became shallow. He clenched his fists. If he ran, would it even matter? His shadow stretched across the floor, but there was something wrong. A second shadow, taller, twisted, moving, though he hadn't. The lights buzzed, then popped, plunging the room into darkness. A whisper brushed his ear. "Unsubscribed." Ryan spun around, fists clenched. Nothing, just empty space. But the air felt wrong, too still, too silent. His pulse hammered as he backed toward the desk. The laptop screen flickered again. "You are almost there." His stomach twisted. Almost where? His mind screamed at him to stop, to shut the laptop, to run. But his body moved on its own. His fingers hovered over the trackpad. The email refreshed. One last step. Then, his webcam light blinked on. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. The screen showed his reflection. But behind him, something else was there. Watching. Smiling. Ryan's stomach dropped. His reflection sat motionless, staring straight ahead. But the thing behind him, its grin widened, teeth stretching too far, eyes hollow and endless. "Click to confirm." The words flashed on the screen. His hands trembled. He had to move, had to do something, but his body wouldn't listen. Then the figure in the reflection moved. Not him, just it. Its hand rose, reaching toward his shoulder. Ryan squeezed his eyes shut. This isn't real. It's not real. Cold fingers brushed his skin. A deafening whisper filled his ears. "You belong to us now." Ryan's scream caught in his throat. His body convulsed as the cold spread through him, sinking into his bones. The laptop screen glowed brighter. Finalizing unsubscription. His reflection twisted, shifting into something grotesque. His face stretched unnaturally, his eyes sunken, his mouth curled into an endless, lifeless grin. That wasn't him anymore. His fingers twitched. His body moved on its own. He reached for the trackpad, but he wasn't the one controlling it. The cursor hovered over the confirmation button. His own voice, distorted, hollow, whispered from the screen. "Say goodbye, Ryan." His finger clicked, and the world shattered. Ryan's screen flashed white. A piercing tone filled the air, growing louder. His ears rang as the world around him blurred. Then, silence. The apartment was gone. He stood in a vast empty space, stretching in all directions. No walls, no doors, just an endless void. A familiar voice spoke behind him, his own. "Welcome, Ryan." He turned. A figure stood there, identical to him but empty, soulless. "You're unsubscribed now," it said, stepping closer. "Someone has to take your place." Ryan tried to move, but his body felt distant. The figure grinned. Don't worry, they'll click next. Ryan's vision blurred. A pull like something was dragging him backward. His copy stepped forward, taking his place. He tried to scream, but no sound came. His body wasn't his anymore. The laptop screen flickered back in his apartment. A new email appeared in the inbox. Subscription available. Somewhere miles away, another person sat at their computer. Their mouse hovered over the email, curiosity pulling them in. Ryan's doppelganger smiled, waiting. The cursor moved. A single click. The cycle continued. The email opened. A new name appeared in bold letters. The next target. Ryan's doppelganger watched through the screen, waiting for them to make the mistake he did. Somewhere, another person read the message. Unsubscribe forever, 1 click to exit. Their finger hesitated over the mouse, just like Ryan had, just like the one before him. The screen flickered, the trap was set, and far beyond the reach of the real world, Ryan screamed in the void, but no one could hear him, because he didn't exist anymore. The end.